Joining us now is Brad Brownell, who's the head men's basketball coach at Clemson and the former Wright State men's basketball head coach. Coach, thank you for your time. How are you today?
Doing great, Parker. Thanks for having me on.
So, my first question here today is what is something that has changed about basketball from when you started coaching up until right now?
Yeah, let's see. I think probably the thing that's changed the most is the game is spaced much more now. You know, back in the day and until recently, you were playing with two post players under the basket. A lot of high-low offenses, power basketball, big rugged physical post players. Now the game is much more spread out. You're seeing a lot of, we kind of evolved to 4-round-1 offenses for a while and still see some of that, but now you're going to the 5-out offenses where all 5 players are outside the 3-point line. More perimeter skill from everybody on the floor, not just the guards, but forwards and centers now who can dribble, pass, and shoot and would rather play away from the basket facing it than with their back to the basket. So, offensively, that's probably the biggest difference is the game has evolved more to more space, pace, little less physical. Back in the 90s, some of the old NBA games you used to see where everybody was knocking each other down and fist fights were breaking out under the basket. So that's probably how the game has changed the most since I've been in coaching.
So you're a former Wright State head coach from 06 to 2010. You going straight from Wright State to Clemson. What was the biggest sort of learning curve or the biggest wow moment going straight from the Horizon League to ACC basketball play?
Well, certainly just the level of athleticism of the players, the size of the players. The guys are just bigger and faster. I don't think in terms of skill level, not a lot of difference. In terms of, coaching, still a lot of great coaches that I coached against at the mid-major level. Schemes and things like that weren't anything drastic. Certainly the size of the arenas and the crowds and the atmosphere of games was bigger more often. But it wasn't a lot of difference in terms of running your program and communicating with your players, installing your offensive and defensive philosophies. All of that is just coaching. There are more responsibilities away from the game here, speaking to booster groups and more media situations that you deal with. So managing your time as a head coach at this level, a little bit more challenging. There's a few more responsibilities and things that go on away from basketball that you have to deal with. But the basketball itself is still just the game at any level.
What is something that you learned when your time at Wright State that has helped you run your program at Clemson?
Well, I think initially maybe the transition, having been the head coach at UNC Wilmington for 4 years, and then my transition to that job was different in that I was the assistant that got promoted. And so I already knew the league and my family didn't have to move, and I knew the university and was familiar with a lot of things. And so that made it, a little bit easier, which was good, especially because it was my first time becoming a head coach. But then leaving UNC Wilmington and going to Wright State, there's a lot of things that change. Obviously, number one is just your family situation. You have to move and you've got to get your daughters into schools, and your wife's got to find a place to live, and you've just got a lot of new things that you're dealing with. You've got to deal with a new league. You got a brand new team that you didn't recruit the players. There's just a lot of things that you have to get used to. And I think having done that once in my transition from UNC Wilmington to Wright State probably gave me more confidence and made it a little bit smoother in my transition from Wright State to Clemson. As a family, we've been through all that. I'd been through dealing with a new team, a new roster, and did a reasonably good job of communicating with the players that were here about expectations and how we're going to establish our culture and all those things. So that's probably was as good of experience for me as any from my Wright State time coming to Clemson.
Looking back on your time at Wright State, what were some of your favorite aspects, whether it's the campus or the athletic department or the basketball program as a whole? What were some of your favorite aspects of Wright State?
Well, the people. I think in any job, you want to be around great people. You want to be around people that you enjoy spending time with. You need alignment in your university. Athletics has to be important. From the president, board of trustees, athletic administration, your AD. If you feel like you have good alignment, communication, if you enjoy the people you're around, that gives you a chance to be successful. And the people at Wright State were great administratively. Mike Cusack, Bob Grant, folks that I got to work with that recruited me there, hired me, and both of them were the AD when I was the coach, and I had wonderful experiences with them. They were always trying to make the program better, and we were always trying to put our heads together and think of ways to improve. And the players that I coached were great. Coached a lot of great players. We had some tremendous success, but they were fun to be around, very coachable, hardworking guys. And so the people always make the job. And then the fan base was outstanding. We had an incredible environment there at the Nutter Center. People in the city of Dayton are extremely passionate about basketball. Basketball is important there. So man, it was just a fun place to coach. And we had met some great friends and families that we still keep in contact with today from our time living in Beaver Creek. So really the people above everything was what was special about my time at Wright State. We couldn't have had a better 4 years than the time we had there.
When you first came up in coaching, did you have someone that was sort of a mentor to you that kind of helped you get your start?
Yeah, my first mentor is my father. My dad was a high school teacher and coach, and just a man that I had a great relationship with, and spent a lot of time with, and talked to, and talked about coaching. When I was playing, and watched him work, and just got to be around him, wanted to be around him. So when I was 5 years old, I would follow him to the gym and try to be in as many camps and clinics and go scouting with him and just learn about the game and learn about coaching. So my dad, first off, and then my college coach, Royce Waltman. I played at DePaul University, kind of a neat Division III school over in Greencastle, Indiana, that had a wonderful experience there. And Coach Waltman was a terrific coach, taught me a lot about the game and also about coaching, and someone that I kept in contact with, until he passed recently, and was always someone that I could get advice from, and I think really molded me and helped me, see some different things and think about new ways of doing things, and was always someone that I could, kind of give a call if I had a question. But I've worked for some really good people. Jim Cruz, I was a grad assistant for him at the University of Evansville, and he was a great coach, and learned a lot in my experience there, first time being at the Division I level. And then Jerry Wainwright, who I worked for 8 years at UNC Wilmington, outstanding coach, great leader of men, taught me a lot about running a program, and that was a great life experience for me. So I've been blessed to try to learn from a lot of different folks, and that's one of the reasons why I've been able to be successful in this business and be a head coach for what is now my 20th years. I was mentored properly and had a lot of people supporting me along the way.
So for those young coaches out there, maybe in high school, maybe at the lower college level, assistants, things like that, what is some piece of advice that you would give to them for when they do get that first head job?
Love of learning. You've never arrived. You've got to want to continue to improve in your craft. The game changes. I think that's critical in terms of basketball. Keep looking for answers, keep looking for better ways to do things. Certainly you have to have a core belief in how you want to play and what you believe in and what your values are for your program. You can see some of them behind me here. with what we talk about, our culture of commitment at Clemson. But there's got to be a true passion for learning, and you've got to work to build as many relationships with quality people as you can along the way. I think those are some things that have really helped me.
So last question for you, Coach. Really can't thank you enough for your time. Brad Brownell here on The Perspective. What have been some of your favorite moments from over the years with your coach in your coaching career? And I know this is a tough question, and I've asked a lot of the people that I've had on, but what have been some of your favorite moments from your time in coaching?
Well, this is actually an easy question for me. I've had a lot of great moments. Winning the Horizon League championship in the Nutter Center, beating Butler in front of 10 or 11,000. I don't know what it holds, but it hold every bit of that and then some that night. To go to the NCAA tournament was a huge moment, and one that I think about and relive and enjoyed as much as any. I've had some great moments. Anytime you take your team, a couple times we won the CAA championship in Richmond with UNC Wilmington to go to the NCAA tournament. Those are big moments. Here at Clemson, we've done some great things. We won a gold medal in the World University Games. And so taking a team overseas and competing against other countries and winning a gold medal in the summer of 2019, that was an awesome experience. Obviously ending the streak in Chapel Hill and beating North Carolina there was a fun day and one I'll remember for a long time. And then anytime you win games in the NCAA tournament, those are big time days and experiences. So I've been lucky. I've had a lot of wonderful experiences and memories in this game.
Well, Coach, I can't thank you enough for your time. I know you're a busy man, so I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Glad to be on with you, Parker.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for watching The Perspective on WWSU 106.9. Be sure to check us out on YouTube and follow me on Twitter @Parker Testa.